Hello, this is Lisa Russick with the podcast We Are All Psychic, and we have a wonderful guest. His name is Brian. And Brian, would you like to say hello?
What's going on, Lisa? Honestly, this is really cool. I'm not used to this end of an interview, so thank you.
Oh, you are welcome. I have a question for you right away. Do you think we're all psychic?
Yeah, I think that if you have never thought about somebody that you haven't seen in a while all day and then seen their name come up on your phone later on that night, or thought of a rare song and then the DJ plays it a couple of hours later, then you're lying. We've all gone through that, and that is intuition, that's psychic ability. I think some people have it a little bit more powerful and could tune in a little deeper to their intuition, but everybody has it.
I agree. I agree. The intuition is at the root of it, of all of it. I always call it like energy work. I like to work with energy. I kind of think of it as like we have a physical, like a nervous system, electrical system, and then we have our endocrine system. And I think we have an energetic system with the chakras. You can feel your energy field if we practice long enough, right? And so I thought have you always been around this stuff, though? I mean, so you have a pretty open mind about it, but how'd you get there?
Well, I've been around it since birth. I had a closed mind about it since until I was 41 years old. My mother is still a tarot card reader today. She's 73. She still reads.
That'll be me.
Yeah. She's probably one of the best that I've seen, but when you're a kid, you don't want to listen to your mother. And since I was young, she would drill it in my head. You're a psychic. You're a psychic. And I just didn't want anything to do with it.
Yeah, rebel. It's like, you're gorgeous. No, I'm ugly. That's basically what you're doing.
Well, I mean, I'm a radio DJ by trade. And for 20 years, I've been a morning show host. Even during that time, things came up. I would think about certain bands and then I would see that they have a new album coming out. Or, I would get bad feelings about a certain boss and then you'd find out later on that he quit or he was fired. But you always ignore that kind of stuff when you're a skeptic because you don't really have time for it. I mean, let's face it, being psychic is scary.
You think so? Or you think it's scary to people who don't know about it? Because now that I work with it, and I think we all are, once we work with it, if it's a mystery and we don't understand it, yeah, it's scary. But it's so much more exposed now. Do you think people will start to grow into like accepting it more and not being as scared?
Well, I hope that the more people that look like me and the more people that sound off about this stuff that don't fit that psychic norm where you look like you just walked out of Woodstock 69 and a lot of male psychics out there. And
no, there's not.
As I got into it, I've been discovering more and more. And I feel like we are the ones that have to break the stigma. When you look at my mom, she looks like a tarot card reader. I don't.
Yeah.
And if I tell you I'm a tarot card reader, I feel like there might be more of an intrigue just because I don't fit that stereotype that Hollywood has bestowed upon us for all these years.
That's right. And even in your local town, if you go to a metaphysical shop, I'm not expecting you to be my reader. I would love it if you were, though, because you're so laid back and accessible. So if I walked in a shop and I saw you as a reader, I'd be like, that's an interesting person. I want a reading from him. I really would, because there's authenticity in your display of who you are. And that's what I would want, someone to be honest with me, to be upfront with me. But as a woman, I don't know if I'd want to go to a male reader as I would. I have been to male readers and they've given me the best advice about dudes. Right. When I have a dude problem and I talk to a dude, it always helps me. A dude psychic. Always.
Well, advice is probably the best thing that you can get from a psychic. I tell every client that comes to me for a reading, there is no future. There are only possibilities. Awesome. Never underestimate our ability to screw things up.
Yes, exactly. So I have a really interesting question. I hope it has an interesting answer. Just kidding. When you were 41, you said you kind of opened up to all this stuff. So what happened? What exactly woke you up to, or woke? I don't know, wake up. What brought you around to not being so skeptical?
So there are 5 radio stations in my building. I'm on the rock station, and the radio station adjacent to my building is like they call it the hot AC, the adult contemporary station.
Okay.
They've had a resident psychic on that station for 25 years, and I try to avoid him like the plague. I had never seen him in the hall.
we
If I
could see
hear him talking, I walk the other way. And one day, my ex-wife and I were just about to get married, and we took a selfie. And in the reflection of my sunglasses looked like her deceased father. So I'm rolling my eyes, and she's telling me, you got to take this picture and you got to show Jeffrey. I know he's in tomorrow. And he only comes in once a month. So it was serendipitous in that respect as it was. And I said, okay, Kel, if I see him, I will, but I never see him. Sure enough, for the first time, I run into him in the hallway in years because he forgot the donuts downstairs. So he had to run out and get them.
And that's just a weird
So
non-coincidence.
I promise. I showed him the picture, and he started to tell me things about her father. And I only knew a little bit because he passed before I met her. But he told me enough for me to say, I got to get away from this guy. So I went back to my studio.
Did it scare you?
It didn't so much scare me. Again, I've been around it enough to know what it is, but I would say it inconvenienced me because it wasn't something I wanted to deal with.
Okay, yeah.
I look up about 10 minutes later, and there he is in my window. And he said, I think you and I should do a show together. Now,
he knew.
I'm a skeptic, but I'm also an opportunist when it comes to radio. And I knew that it would be good ratings. So I thought about it, and we agreed to once a week. And during that time, things started to open up. I would find myself talking to the callers as much as Jeffrey. And I would never call it psychic. Like every once in a while, you would hear a call go, Orlando, did I tell you that? Oh, yeah. You told me that, But I think that went on for 2 years. And then the pandemic happened. And during the pandemic, we all, I think, felt a little bit of an uprising when it came to psychic intuition. We were stuck. We had nothing else to do.
Yes.
So Jeffrey and I still did the show once a week. But during that time, I started experiencing these really radical mood swings. And that's when it got scary because I wasn't in control. I'm crying all the time. I'm angry. I have no reason why. I'm either going through menopause or something really serious is happening. So one day I felt this feeling that I wasn't good enough. I wanted to scrub my skin off. I wasn't good enough. I wasn't worthy. I felt like I had no value to anyone, and there was no reason for it. It just overwhelmed me. So during that time, we were about to do a Zoom interview with the station at home, and my computer stops working. So I run next door to my landlord, and as I'm asking her to borrow her laptop, she breaks down hysterically, and she says, I was just turned down for a job promotion, and they gave it to somebody else. I feel worthless. And she started to explain everything that I was feeling. So at that moment, my feelings dissipated, but I'm rattled. I get through the interview. I call up my mother and I say, you're right. I'm coming down to get a deck of cards. I need you to show me how to do this. And that was it.
What'd your mom say?
Surprisingly,
nothing.
A lot of I told you so's than I thought, and my mom and I sort of had a pretty tumultuous relationship growing up. I knew that when it came to this, she would be invested, but I wasn't sure how she was going to take it. And she just quietly said, get on a plane and I'll show you.
So cool. What was your first tarot deck? What did she give you? Or did you
She
pick
gave me
it
the
up?
Rider-Waite. I mean, I've been around it since I was. I think that is the standard. Like we should all.
I love that deck so
the Rider-Waite.
I made a tarot deck based off that. Yeah, I love the Rider-Waite. I think it's great.
I mean, I remember sitting on her lap as a baby and she's showing me the cards. Like they've been in my home, they've been in my life forever. And I think if you're not going to start with the Rider-Waite, you should start with, like you have, some sort of variation of it.
I did
Something.
Osho Zen. Yeah, that was the one. The one I used for probably about I want to say 20 years, 15 years was the Osho Zen deck. And I just read it with intuition. And then I finally learned the traditional tarot in 2018. But I was working as a psychic for 8 years professionally with the Osho Zen deck and, doing, I guess, okay. Not as good as with a real tarot deck because there's so much detail. And then working with a real, like that traditional tarot of a Rider Waite, it also opened up my mind to my intuition getting more details because I realized all the angles the cards would give me, of different options. And I love that. So I think it's very interesting that you had this, like, all these synchronicities just that led you to this. And how did you feel like when you left your mom's? Were you ready? I mean, did you feel like that you've like had learned the basics of the tarot and that you were ready to like really how'd you feel about the tarot? Because the tarot is just great. I think it's a tool, of course, but
I felt like I had a long road ahead of me. And I also felt like what she told me was great for her. But I knew flying home, I was going to have to figure out my own way to do things because, she was born in 1952 and the world was a lot different. Even some of her rules, like she will not read you within a 6-month span. Well, when she started reading and she would say, you're going to get a letter, it took 5 to 7 days for the post office to deliver the letter. I could send you a text in 5 seconds right now. So it's a faster world. It's a different world. And I knew, okay, she gave me some fundamentals, but I'm going to have to figure out my own way to do this.
And what have you figured out?
For me, that tarot is, well, it's a $19.99 tool. This is where the intuition comes from. This is where the messages come from. Tarot to me is a portal. And I think that the easiest way to understand the cards is to use music, is to use songs and experiences and pop culture that you have taken with you throughout your entire life, so that when you see Kevin Bacon dancing through town, you might know at that point you have a dancer in front of you. Whatever it is, you need your own experiences to apply to the deck to help other people with theirs.
I love this, listeners and watchers. And this is a video on Spotify and YouTube. So come on, show it to them. Show the watchers this beautiful thing that I just bought the minute you showed it to me. I didn't even know this existed. And I was like, what, listeners? This says, hold it up. Rock and Roll Tarot, interpreting the cards through universal language of music. And he tell us about this book. You told me about it before, and I'm like, oh, I have to have it. Go get it. Okay, tell us about it.
Rock and Soul Tarot is the book. I used
Soul Tarot.
20 years of radio stories, some of my favorite music, and some of the more unorthodox experiences in my life to show you how I associate each card with songs so that you now have my method to go ahead and apply your own songs, your own experiences. The major arcana starts with the Fool. For that, I picked the song Runaway Train by Soul Asylum.
I love it.
There's always this romanticized message with the Fool that it's a romantic thing that he's starting this.
Yeah, I never see it that way. I just see it as he's like walking off a cliff, man,
Exactly. Like, if you're leaving everything behind, why? There's got to be some heavy reason behind it.
True.
And if I tell you I'm just going to get in my car and drive until I run out of gas, and that's where I'm going to start my new life, that's not romantic to me. That's stupid. And that's why they call it the Fool. So when I hear Runaway Train, never coming back, wrong way on a one-way track, that to me epitomizes that energy.
I love that. So, that's great.
I start out with that, and then I explain how in 2004, I had to leave Long Island. I had nothing here anymore. I had just gotten into legal trouble, and I was done. I got in my car, I drove over the bridge, and I started my new life. And it took years of tears and pain and frustration until I figured out that I wanted to get in the radio. But if I didn't take that journey, it would have never happened.
How did you figure that out? How did you know you wanted to get in the radio all of a sudden? I mean, is this just growing in you, or where did you get an opportunity?
I was a truck driver, and they were running a commercial for the Connecticut School of Broadcasting, and they were holding a contest. So I entered the contest for a free tuition, and I came in second. Whatever place I took didn't win me anything, but at that point, I was already committed. So I was able to take out a loan, enter the program, and my career started from there.
That is just great. And so do you do the rock and roll on your station? Do you do just like every day, like for certain hours, or do you have a
I'm the
show?
morning show host for
Or
94.
you're the morning show host? That's a big deal, isn't it? That's a big deal. I know the morning show host is a big deal. You're a big deal. That's freaking rad. And you got all the way up there. And you know you can do whatever you want, probably, especially because you know the tarot. I personally think the magician card teaches us that the tarot is the way to change our lives. If we see something that possibly may come up, the magician card says, well, you can change it. And this is how. You can use the other cards to find out how. Like to give yourself better benefit or help someone out, but it's not like you said in the beginning of the podcast. You don't always know the outcome. These are just possibilities. So that's where the advice comes in. So you have these things that might come up. And let's say, well, I got to ask real quick, what's the Nine of Cups song? I
Cup song. We'll go into it. All right.
got to know. I just popped into my head. I have to know Nine of Cups song. And the Empress, of course.
Thank God there's an index and a glossary to this thing. Page 99 for the Nine of Cups.
Oh, that's great.
Okay. So can I read you a passage of what I wrote about the Nine of Cups?
Please do.
So for the Nine of Cups, I wrote, have you ever looked around and thought, man, this is such a beautiful life? As you said that, were you a millionaire? Was every bill paid? I once watched a very famous musician give a seminar, and at the end he said, nobody gets what they want when they need it. And that stuck with me. How many coaches, bosses, and people who've had great influence over you said, act like you've been there before? And then for the part where it says song to help you understand, I picked Danny's song by Loggins and Messina. Even though we ain't got money.
Oh, I know that song.
Oh, in love with you, honey.
Yeah.
So what I wrote about it was, it isn't wealth that causes this emotional outpouring. It isn't a fancy car that makes Kenny Loggins practically break down in happy tears during the chorus to this 1971 classic. It's what he already has, a bond with who he is singing with, that makes it more than enough to feel that it is enough. Sometimes it's that simple. And according to the narrator of Danny's song, the key to be happy is to be happy for what he has. Look at what you already have and be grateful.
Be gratitude with the Nine of Cups. I love that. Yes, I love that. That's beautiful. That's a great song to put with it too. I have to get the book. I could just sit here for like the whole 78 cards and just talk about them. I really could, because I love it. I love it so much. So I do have I have a question. So listeners and watchers, before the podcast, we were talking about music. That's why I have my guitar, because we were talking about music in his book and stuff. And his wife plays the sound bowls. Like you listeners, if you know, you probably know I do play sound bowls. I've done it on the podcast. And I'm doing a sound series, actually, Brian, a sound healing series with the 432 hertz and the solfeggio frequency tuning forks. But I'm just kind of like stuck on how to record the next part. But so I just thought, like listeners, I was just so excited when we got talking, and I realized how into music you are. And something else he had said while we were right before the podcast, something else you said is that I can't remember. It was just there for a minute, and I was like, wait a minute, did he say that during the podcast or afterwards? Something about like there it goes. It just went out of my head. If you watch my podcast, you know this happens a lot. If you've ever watched it, every podcast I lose a thought. It's part of the charm. That's what I got.
I could tell you that I have recorded sound bowl healings before, and one of the best ways to do it, if you don't have a high enough stand to aim the microphone down directly into the middle of the bowl is to hang them from a cable from the ceiling.
Yeah, you know what I was gonna do? I have two of these, listeners and watchers. You can see my microphone. I have two Blue Yetis and they're 360 sound. And what I was gonna do is I have them hanging over. I have two like arms, and I'm gonna have them hanging over my sound bowls. And since they're 360 sound, and I have Adobe Creative Suite, I'm going to use the Premiere. I mix all these in Premiere, and I'm going to do it with surround sound eventually when I do the sound, but I just have to do it to get it all set up, make it sound right, make it left and right, because it records, I have to do a bunch of stuff. I have all the stuff to do it. I just haven't done it. Typical musician is lazy, not all the time. But when it comes to setting up equipment, right? Once we get there, we're like, yeah, it stays that way for about 3 years too. So, where can they find your book? It's on Amazon? I know that because I just bought it there. So, do you have a website? Where can they find out more about you?
It's on Amazon and it's on barnesandnoble.com. And you could follow me on Instagram, Orlando0616. I am horrible with keeping up on my social media. I used to do live streams 2-3 times a week. I'm trying to do more. Since I started writing the book, I didn't stop doing one-on-one readings. I just stopped booking them for a little while because I was consumed with the book. I just started doing readings again. You could book me through the same Instagram, or even if you just have a story, or maybe you have a song that matches with a certain card. I'd love to hear it.
Yes, I have a regular that I do podcasts with. Her name's Donna, and we did probably 800 tarot talk podcasts. But she loves to associate songs with tarot cards. That's like one of her specialties that she does for her students when she, like you do. When you said before the podcast that you teach tarot, right? And that's what she does when she teaches tarot. She uses a lot of songs, and I think like some of the ones like I follow when she does that, when she used to do it a lot more, but she doesn't do it as much. But she nailed it. Yeah. And like you do, she nailed it too. But you both have different styles with the songs you pick, which is very interesting. I love that, because you kind of put like a more of a personal touch into like for you personally, I think too. And I know Donna does too, but there is an age gap there, though. Donna is probably from a generation above us. So, she knows every song ever made. I don't know how. Some people can just keep them all in there,
My mom just read the book, and in the back.
What? I didn't even think about that. Tell.
There is a section where you can apply your own songs to each of the 78 cards. And she started telling me the other day what song she picked. And I can't think of them off the top of my head. Oh, 401, she picked Chapel of Love by the Dixie Cups. Gone to the chapel.
It's my marriage card, too.
And I just thought it's so cool for somebody who, A, taught me a lot about music, and B, has such a different upbringing than I did, to be able to apply such a radically different set of songs to it. It's the whole point of the book is, yes, I want you to have a new unorthodox way to understand tarot, but it's to show that we're all connected.
Yes.
Especially through music. Cards, they represent an emotion. Like, you might know happiness. I know happiness. It looks different. It sounds different. It feels different, but it's still happiness.
Yes.
Sadness, triumph, frustration, and music represents those emotions just like tarot does. And it's up to us to interpret it and to establish what it means to us and how we can apply our understanding of it to somebody else and help us understand what they're going through.
Yes, that's what it's for. And if we can feel like, for me, my goal is always to have my clients hopefully feel like they're understood in that whatever time we have, and if they can feel understood, or they can at least have some advice to go forward with, something tangible to do or think about or work with energetically. Even I love working with people who are just starting to work with their energy, for example, and do cards, do magic, do stuff like that. And as with the podcast, I told you beforehand, like most of our audience, when I first started this, especially listeners, was for people who didn't know much, because I grew up not knowing what the hell was going on, you know? And so I hope to help people doing that. And I think you've helped a lot of people like on this podcast today. So thank you.
I appreciate it. I appreciate the opportunity. I mean, there was a time when I didn't want to hear about this stuff, but I could talk about it all day.
Now, yep. Okay, well, you got to come back then. Maybe your wife will come too, and we can have a three-way conversation.
I think there's a card for that, but
I think there is a card for that. Three of Cups reversed. Yeah, probably.
it's something paired with the devil in reverse.
Seven of Cups. I'd love to thank my sponsor, Everclear, at this point, now that they're mortally embarrassed by me. Everclear is an advice app or you can get advice from psychics and empaths, so you can get the clarity you need to create the life you deserve. And I'm an advisor on there named Lisa Russick. And all the advisors on Everclear are great. There is, you can get it in the Google Play Store or the Apple Store under Everclear Advice app, and it's everclear.com as the website. And lastly, I have to ask you for some advice. Brian, you've given so much good advice. It seems like everything you say is a piece of advice. But I would love to give a piece of advice for people thinking about this. They're all doing it if they're listening right now. If they know the tarot, they're all picking up songs in their head right now. They're not listening to us anymore. They're not. They're thinking up songs. So, what would be your advice to people while they're picking their songs?
That every single definition is a baseline and it's temporary. And you and I can both sit down before them for a reading, and the same card will have a different meaning. So even your songs are just the baseline. Think of where you were when you heard those songs, what you were experiencing, why those songs are important to you. And that will open you up to other meanings that this card might represent when it's supposed to for a certain client.
Right. That's great advice. Thank you so much. And I'm so glad you were on the podcast. And I do have one last question for you, Brian. Do you love the listeners and the watchers?
Listen, I don't get paid without them. So the short answer is yes. But the long answer is also yes, because I didn't know when I got into tarot just how unordinary my experiences are. And that's a good thing.
Yeah.
We have unique experiences because they're ours, but we have experiences that can be related and relate to others very easily if we just open up our eyes and our ears. And tarot is my learning experience in understanding that we have all gone through and go through the same things.
Yes.
So I love anyone that can give me some advice. And sometimes just by doing a reading,
yes,
you learn a lot about what you need to do. You don't say it during the reading.
Right. You get healed. You yourself get healed
Mhm.
while you're giving a reading in a way. You find out stuff for yourself too. And if you see someone, you heal them and you see them feeling better. It makes me feel like not just like I did a good job. I feel like this is my friend. Like they're happy, they're my friend now. I don't know. It's the best way to put it.
Just love that you use the word healer, because we all have a lot of friends that are Reiki people and sound healers, but I believe that readers, psychics, mediums are healers too.
We're through the talking and the energy. We move energy when we speak and do the cards. I think so too. I'm a talker and I'm an intellectual like I intellectualize everything. I don't want to, but I do. I'm trying at this time in my life to put my heart and thoughts more together, but still be discerning. But I think that I just think that when we get the logical stuff out of the way, we still have to keep some logic, right? But if we get the logical stuff out of the way and kind of make it backseat, it's always there, not out of the way, but make it like a backseat choice, logical choice second, heart driven first. I think that would be the best way to approach most situations in general. But I don't know. That was just what I just popped out of my mouth, Ryan. Things pop out of here, and I don't know why.
No, I tell my students similar things. Like, you cannot be afraid to just say what's coming to you. It might not make sense. It might not even make sense to the person sitting before you. They might have to think about it.
Yes.
But it eventually will. I mean, we've all done that inadvertently to psychics. I went to a medium, awesome woman, excellent psychic, and throughout the entire reading, she kept insisting that my family owned a white horse, or that there was some association with a white horse, to the point where I was ready to get up. I'm like, lady, there's no white horse.
Dude, really pushing.
A year, I mean, the reading was amazing, but the white horse never came up. A year later, I'm sitting on my couch eating a bowl of cereal, and staring at me right in my face is a painting of a white horse that my great-grandfather had given me when I was a little kid. That's always been in my life, that had been on my wall for years, and I just never thought about it.
Was that a horse he had? Or was it just a painting?
He just painted horses.
Oh, he painted it.
It's his horse. He painted it, Hey Orlando on it. And, that's why you cannot be afraid to say something. She was adamant, and I kept saying no. And a lot of times, and this isn't out of arrogance, but when you're getting a reading, you're not thinking, because sometimes the information's coming at you rapid fire.
Yes.
So a lot of times you're not wrong. The client is, and that's an honest experience. Yeah. They'll call you up later and go, dude, I totally forgot it was this, it was that. So don't be afraid to just say it. Even if you're told it's wrong, just say it and you'll figure it out.
Or they will later. You may never find out if they figure it out, but it will probably come up. Almost always does it not. It happens somewhere, or it'll occur to them. It could be 10 years later, but it's like, oh, I get that white horse now. But like, you saw the painting and it's like, oh my gosh, this horse has been with me. And I just feel like that like the horses, the spirit of the horse is like in you anyway. You've got that freedom spirit, and so I think that maybe in the white, I guess in spirituality, white symbolism of horses and like buffalo and stuff like that. In the more gentler mammals who have white, they're usually considered like guardians and mystical and stuff like that. So thinking of it as a grandfather, be like a guardian, So as being the white one, the white horse that she kept insisting on. So thank you so much again. And listeners, I love you too, by the way. And land watchers, I love you too. And I hope you do come back and ask your wife if she wants to come on, and we can have a good conversation, see what she thinks about all this, if she wants to. And if you want to come back, you're welcome anytime.
I love it, Lisa. Thank you for the opportunity. I really had a great time talking to you.
I did too. This was great. And listeners, we just set this up yesterday. It was great.
Take care.
Thank you so much. Peace out, listeners.